President Obama's post-election honeymoon might be over as far as the public's concerned. Here's the new poll. Take a look at it. The president has all but lost any advantage he had over Republicans when it comes to whom do you trust to handle the economy. Mr. Obama dropping 10 points since December. Whoa. Tucker Carlson, editor of Daily Caller, Fox News contributor. Alan Colmes, host of the Alan Colmes radio show. Gentlemen, good morning to both of you.
Good morning, Bill.
Tucker, what gives here?
Well, I mean, I think the president overplayed his hand on the sequester. This is, by the way, a precipitous
You think
drop.
that's it?
I do think. Well, I think it's a cumulative effect. I mean, keep in mind that the president last term promised to right the economy with a series of stimulus packages. That didn't work. To rein in health care costs with Obamacare. That didn't work. To fix the budget gap by raising taxes on the rich. That didn't work. And then that the government would collapse if the sequester took effect. And, of course, that hasn't happened. 3/4 of people polled say they've seen no effect at all in their own lives. So you keep saying this stuff, it doesn't come true, and ultimately it erodes your poll numbers. Pretty simple.
Yeah, and the line is getting closer and closer to whom the public blames. I mean, because a long time it was House Republicans, and, well, we don't see it that way so much anymore in this polling.
No.
Alan, what do you think is going on here?
Well, I think it's
is it the sequester, or is it previous failed policies trying to get the economy rolling?
I think it's neither. I think it's typical post-honeymoon period. George W. Bush was pretty much the same point at this point in his presidency. So it's certainly not that unusual. And if you look inside these numbers that just came out, for example, there's a 53% believe the economy is improving, which certainly helps the president. The comfort level is the best as it's been in 5 years, according to Bloomberg metrics. 58 to 33% believe we should be cutting military spending, which is right in line with what the president wants to do. 56 to 38% say cut the loopholes for the rich, which is right in line with what Democrats want to do. So we look at specifics and see what it is people seem to be favoring.
That's an interesting point to make. But here is another specific, too, from the poll. Among independents, he has dropped about 10 points. Going back to the month of January alone. 50% disapproval, Tucker.
Right. So this, actually, it's not common. I think since Harry Truman, there's only been one other president, George W. Bush, who was polling at 50% 4 months after his reelection. This is bad news. The president's not running for reelection, of course, but he is very focused on getting Democrats back into the majority in the House in the midterm elections in 2014. And with numbers like this, the drop among independents, ominous. I would say the most ominous fact from these polls, though, is the divide between various segments of the population. Obama's approval rating among black voters, 96%. Among
high.
white voters, 41%. So that you actually, and I'm not even blaming the president for that. I am just noting that's not a good thing.
Well, I think.
Well, I mean, I think.
Go ahead.
I think it's bad.
I think it's pretty much the way it's been, and pretty much the way the election was.
41% among white voters.
You know, he always done better among non-white voters. Also, independents overwhelmingly favor military cuts and also not cutting Medicaid. So when some of the Republican ideas kick in fact, the Ryan budget, by 2-to-1 margin, people, according to this poll, people don't want to cross-the-board cuts. So that doesn't favor the Ryan budget and what the Republicans want to do.
Well,
so we get the policy, it really favors Democrats.
Just let's go 30,000 feet here. This is what I see the lead line in the Washington Post now today. The afterglow of President Obama's re-election inauguration appeared to have vanished.
I thought
you go to Politico.com, mischance Obama's tax problem.
I thought the president had the press in his pocket. What happened?
I'm not sure. I mean,
I'll tell you exactly what
well, that's a great point, Alan. What's changing, Tucker?
Well, I mean, the fact the press isn't in his pocket. That's the whole
Tucker,
point.
what's changing?
Well, of course, the press is sympathetic to the president. Of course, I mean, there's no debate about that. But I think he went into the second term with a pretty bellicose posture. I mean, look at his second inaugural, look at the State of the Union address. Neither one gave a lot to the other side. He basically drew a line in the sand on issue after issue. And I think it's possible he overreached early. Gun control, for example. The president has energized the Republican base on that specific issue faster than I ever would have thought possible. Again, if the goal is to take Congress back for Democrats in 2 years, I think it's a lot tougher than it was going to be.
Interesting. Alan, I'll give you the last word. 8 seconds you have.
Public wants gun control. All polls show people favor more restrictions on guns.
In your neighborhood.
In most neighborhoods.
Thank you, Alan.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tucker.
Thanks, Bill.